everyone, and welcome to my Hawkeye reading vlog. So we are obviously now in the month of Hawkeye, which means I'm going to be reading a ton of Hawkeye things. So continuing on my tradition that I've started since like Falcon and the Winter Soldier, I'm going to be vlogging my experience as I read all my Hawkeye comics and talking about what I think about the TV show. Now admittedly it is the 1st of December, so the first 3 episodes have aired. The first 2 were a double bill last week and I just had no time to vlog or read comics actually, so we're starting now. So what I'm going to do is tell you what I think about all of the episodes and then go into obviously the comics I'm going to be reading. So my first thoughts are that I really like this series. I love how chaotic Clint and Kate are, and I love their sort of developing like mentor-mentee relationship. I love how much of a fangirl Kate is, because I mean I relate. If I was in front of my favourite hero, I would be the same. I would probably be less cool, but there we go. I'm loving all of like the little bits of comic references as well. I love all of those. I'm always here for comic references, so I'm loving all of that. I love like how Matt Fraction this is in terms of like the Hawkeye Matt Fraction run. I admit it's not my favourite comic in the world, but I will be rereading the first one and then reading the entire series throughout this like series, because obviously there's so many things like referenced in it and I'm going to need it for blog posts if nothing else. I love that we've also finally had that acknowledgement of Clint's deafness as well, and I like how they've put it in terms of he's now hard of hearing because of so many injuries over the years and how he's now reliant on a hearing aid. I really like how they're showing that when his hearing aid is broken or it's just taken out and stuff like this. I really like seeing like how that's working. I really like Maya as well. We've only just met Maya, but I really like her already because she's a bit of a badass, to be honest, and obviously her adoptive father in the comics is Kingpin, so I'm hoping this uncle is going to turn out to be Kingpin, because Kingpin, essentially, I love Kingpin. I'm desperate to see Kingpin again, but I love her anyway. I love the fact that they have a deaf actress as well, and an actress who also has a prosthetic leg, and they're not shying away from that. They are showing that in the show as well. I love that we've also got her as a native actress as well. I really like that. I'm loving the representation of this, quite frankly. It's really good. I really like it, and I just generally really like Hawkeye at the moment. I wouldn't say it's my favourite because like the others before them have just sort of involved characters I just love a bit more, I guess, and the storylines engage me just that little bit more. But in saying that, Hawkeye is still brilliant so far and I'm so excited to continue with it. But as for the comics I'm going to be reading, like I mentioned, it will be the Matt Fraction run. I'm also hoping to get to Hawkeye and like Hawkeye versus Deadpool. That is definitely one I want to get to. Hawkeye and Mockingbird, because I love Bobby Morse as a character, so I really want to see that team up. Obviously Kate Bishop by Kelly Thompson is definitely happening as well. And basically anything else I can get my hands on Marvel Unlimited is generally what I'm going to be doing, depending on how much time I've got. At the moment I'm thinking I'm probably only going to get through like maybe 1 or 2 comics this week, but to be fair that's quite good because I've got to do a character profile on Echo, and then I also need to do my first 3 episode Easter egg breakdown. So I'm going to get on with that and I will update you in a minute once I have read some of those comics. But for now I've got to get on with some blogging, but I will come back with comic thoughts in a minute. Okay guys, so I have now finished the Matt Fraction Hawkeye run, which was 6 volumes long, not issues, 6 volumes long, and I reasonably enjoyed it. I've got to admit it is not my favourite run ever. I do like the art style of it, but for me I feel like there could be some improvements in places because it feels like it jumps around quite a lot and I'd prefer like a more linear storyline. But in saying that, I did like the chaoticness of it, and finding out more about Clint and seeing him as more of like a street level hero. I did enjoy that, so I think I'm going to give it about 3 stars overall for the entire series. What I will say though is that reading it after watching the first 3 episodes of Hawkeye is really interesting because of the references, because that entire car chase in episode 3 is taken straight out of the comics, and so many other bits are taken completely straight out of the comics. It's unbelievable, so it was really fun seeing that. But apart from that, I think if I'd read this without the TV show, I wouldn't have enjoyed it as much, I guess. And with that, we're on to episode 4 now, which I've also just watched. I loved it. I think this may be my favourite episode, if not just because of the ending and seeing Yelena. I've been waiting for Yelena for a very long time. I mean, ever since I saw the Black Widow movie and that end credit scene where it was like, oh my god, Yelena's going to be going after Clint, I have been waiting for this moment. So to see her turn up right at the end was so exciting. I cannot wait to see where this is going to go. I kind of hope that it's revealed, obviously, that she is Natasha's sister. And she's not just a random Black Widow assassin. I really want that, because then I kind of want first Yelena to beat the living daylights out of Clint, because I just think that'd be funny and I'm not bitter over Vormir at all. And also just for the sheer fact that I think it'd be fun. But then I kind of want the two of them to sort of console each other, I guess, because they've both lost Natasha and they both loved her very much, so I would like to see that. But first I want to see them beat each other up, because I'm still bitter over Vormir. Essentially that's why. Also, the flashback to Natasha on Vormir was quite frankly a personal attack, and I nearly started crying. And it's like 10 o'clock in the morning and it was like, I don't deserve to be attacked this early, but I was. So that was fun. But I did genuinely really love this episode. I love this exploration as well, more of like Clint's grief and him saying like the best shot was the shot he never took. In terms of not killing Natasha, I really liked that. I really liked that we got to see more of Kate's caring side, in the sense that she went to Clint so he wasn't alone and he got to have a movie marathon and wear ugly Christmas jumpers, things like this. I really like seeing the bond with each other and sort of learning those tricks and sort of finally talking a little bit more. I really liked that. I just generally really like Kate as a character. I think she's brilliant. I'm really excited to see these new costumes, because I'm always here for new costumes, quite frankly, and I'm really excited to see what they do with Kate and her costume, because the MCU is sort of going more towards comic accuracy now, which I really like. Obviously we have seen Clint's costume because it's on the title card thing of Disney Plus, but I'm really excited to see it in action, essentially, and like him and Yelena properly working together like that. I really liked as well that we actually got this moment where it looks like Kate's fallen off the building, and it's sort of like this idea of this callback to Clint losing Natasha, essentially. I really like that, though it was also a personal attack. And I just generally really enjoyed this. I'm really excited to see where it's going with like the watch. I reckon that's probably Tony's watch that's got like an Iron Man gauntlet in it from Civil War. And I just generally really enjoyed this one. This is either my favourite episode or episode 3 is my favourite episode. I can't choose, but either way, really enjoyed it. And now, today, all I want to do is read Yelena comics, but there aren't that many, and I've read them all because I read them back in Black Widow times. I'll leave a link up above to that vlog. So I'm going to be reading some Kate Bishop stuff instead. I'm going to be focusing on Kelly Thompson's Hawkeye Kate Bishop, because I've owned those 3 volumes for a very long time, so I think it's time I finally got to them. I'm probably not going to finish them all today because I've got a lot of filming and blogging and everything else to do, so I'm probably not going to have time to finish all of them, but I want to at least make a start on them. So that's the plan, and I will update you when I've read at least one of them. So I've now just finished 2 of the Hawkeye Kate Bishop series, and I really enjoy this one. I've got to admit, it's very fun. I really like seeing how chaotic Kate is, because Kate is quite a chaotic character. But I love seeing her like building up this business in terms of like the PI agency, with Jessica Jones as well. That was epic as well. I really enjoyed that because I love Jessica. And then in the second volume, she teams up with like X-23 and Gabby, who are huge favourites of mine. So that was really fun, and I cannot wait to see what's going to happen now with Clint, who's just turned up as well at the end, and both of them need each other's help. I can't actually read that right now, which is really annoying, but I really enjoyed this. I've got to admit, it was a great time. 4-star reader, both of them, and I really like Kate. I really hope I can find more Kate stuff soon, because this was epic. I really enjoyed it. But for now, that's actually going to be it for this week. I don't know if I'm going to be able to update you next week, because next Wednesday, is when I'm seeing Spider-Man. So I may be a little bit busy, but we'll see what happens. I may be able to update you in terms of what I think about the episode or something. I don't think I'll be able to read anything because I'm going to be too busy reading Spider-Man and Doctor Strange, but we'll see what happens. So I will update you when I update you. So it is now officially the day after the Hawkeye TV series ended, and I've also managed to read the final Kate Bishop comic I wanted to read. So it is time to wrap all of this up. So that final Kate Bishop comic I actually really enjoyed. I thought I would. I've enjoyed the other two. I really enjoyed seeing Kate and Clint team up in this one and just sort of being themselves while also bantering and also being very chaotic. I really enjoyed seeing Kate's friends again and them helping Clint, just trying to save Kate and things like this. I loved the tease of Eleanor as well being alive. Really enjoyed that element of it as well, and just generally really enjoyed this comic, so I gave it 4 stars. And also quickly, I've got to mention this panel as well, which I found really funny. It was really in keeping with this idea of the comic and like the vibe of it and everything, so I thought that was very funny. As for the Hawkeye season finale, I am so happy that Kingpin is back. Like, I love Kingpin. Kingpin is one of my favourite villains. I always remember him because as a child I grew up on the Ben Affleck Daredevil, and obviously Kingpin was in that along with Bullseye. I loved Kingpin as well in Daredevil, things like this. I just love Kingpin, so to have him back, played by the guy who played him in Daredevil, has been amazing. I've loved seeing him back, especially with the comic accurate costume and everything else, and seeing more of his sort of immense strength, I guess you could say. Well, it is immense strength in this series finale. I love that. I loved the fact that it was Eleanor as well who was working with Fisk. I love seeing like Jack come around to like the good side. I loved the LARPers as well. They were great. And like Yelena, Kate and Yelena, I want them to be best friends. Quite frankly, I need them to have a spin-off series immediately. I just love them. I love that whole scene with Yelena and Clint as well, with the whistle talking about Natasha, everything else. I absolutely love that. And just generally, I loved Kate as well. I love that we've got confirmation now that Laura, Clint's wife, is an ex-SHIELD agent as well. That is epic, especially considering she's Agent 19, aka Mockingbird, who is Clint's comic canon, well, now ex-wife, but wife, essentially. Love that. I love this TV show. It was so good. I think I could have done with more Echo in it, if I'm honest. But quite frankly, I do know that we'll be getting more of her in her own TV series, so I'm not particularly bothered about that, to be honest. But I did love the representation this brought in with deafness and also prosthetic legs and things like this. Really enjoyed that. I love that they didn't shy away from using sign language throughout the show and also showing Maya's prosthetic leg. Really enjoyed that. And I just generally really enjoyed this TV show. Admittedly, it was very Christmassy, which is not my thing at all. I am a complete Grinch, but I did really enjoy the TV show. And unpopular opinion, but I really liked the end credit scene. I thought the end credit scene was brilliant, so that's just me. I know a lot of people didn't like it, but I did. Well, with that, I'm going to leave this vlog here because I don't really have time to read any other Hawkeye comics and there's no more episodes to comment on. So with that, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please do give me a thumbs up. Comment down below, tell me what you thought of the Hawkeye series, if you have watched it, or if you don't have that much time. Leave me an arrow related emoji down below to let me know that you were here. I'll also leave a link down below to all of my social media if you want to check it out, including to the Comic Book Sanctum, which is my website dedicated to Marvel Comics, which has got a whole ton of Hawkeye stuff on there if you are interested, as well to my links to my Etsy and Redbubble store as well, which sells bookish goodies and bookish bullet journal stuff if you are more interested in that kind of thing. Or if you want to see any more of my videos, please click subscribe here, and over here will be the link to my previous video. But until next time everyone, bye!